Hey, Alvaro. Firstly, thank you for joining us today and taking part in this video series we're putting together, looking at Agentic AI and AI agents. Welcome to the conversation.
Hi, Trevor. Thank you for your introduction. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. A very interesting topic. So let's talk.
Let's get into it. So, as I mentioned, it's looking at AI agents, agentic AI. I mean, since ChatGPT arrived in everyone's kind of rearview mirror, so to speak, and we all became experts in ChatGPT and suddenly experts in AI, that's kind of shifted the conversation a little bit. But 2025 certainly seems to feel as if it's the year of AI agents and agentic AI. And the vast majority of what I'm reading and hearing has been very much focused on the impact for the traveler. You know, how we're going to search, book eventually with hotels, or it's been orientated towards the hotels themselves, how they can be using it to drive more efficiencies. But not a lot seem to have been discussed about how this new technology is going to impact specifically on the existing hotel tech providers like you guys. And so that's why we thought it would be a different angle, hopefully an interesting angle to look at. And really looking at what the opportunities, but also what might be the threats to hotel tech providers, and also maybe touch on what might be some of the threats hoteliers need to be aware of if they were looking to go down this particular route. So that's where we're going to kick it off. I'm a kind of positive person, so it makes sense to maybe start with the positives. So over to you. Let me throw the question to you. AI agents, agentic AI, what opportunities do you feel that is going to be bringing to hotel tech providers?
That's a good question. I think that from the vendor perspective, the opportunity is huge. I think that artificial intelligence and AI agents are a game changer. So because it's a perfect fit for the industry. So travel is about people, and this kind of tool improve the people interaction.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it is going to be a very very important movement in the industry. So from the cultural shift, I think that is the biggest opportunity, because now artificial intelligence is a trendy topic. So everyone wants to know more about this technology, about new tool. And I think that in the past, the technology was only for techie guys, and now it's the opportunity. And I think that it's not only about artificial intelligence. So people know that if you want to develop this kind of agents, you need infrastructure, you need cultural, you need training, you need technology. And I think that is a big opportunity for all the ecosystem. So in terms of use cases, so there are going to appear new business cases, because so I think that with this technology you can solve new problems that in the past it was like an utopia. So real-time translation at the front desk, so smart rooms. This sounds pretty promising, and I think that for the existing vendors, they can develop new features because they have the knowledge, they have the data. So I think that the opportunity for this new revolution is huge. But not only for new business cases. So for the system software, so like, I don't know, RMS, PMS, the opportunity is also very big, because you can improve the client interaction with Copilot, with agents, with chatbots. And I think that these tools sometimes can be a very different. They can be extremely complex, and with the help of this new technology, I think that the experience is going to be improved a lot. So all in all, the opportunity is very high. And lastly, I want to mention that these vendors are companies, as all the companies in the world, they can take advantage of this new revolution in terms of marketing, go-to-market, development speed, that with the new tools like Copilot is going to be very, very differential key skill in the teams. So I think that challenging times are coming, but the opportunity is huge.
Some good points, and so, and I like the way that, as you say, we sometimes focus from a technology provider perspective of looking at how it's going to enhance our solution for our customers, but also, as you rightly pointed out, you're utilizing it internally to be increasing and improving what you're doing in a go-to-market or in your sales and marketing efforts, and just looking at how you can also be benefiting from using that AI agents and agentic AI in-house as well.
Totally agree. So I think that productivity can be improved a lot. So it's like one of the most important game changers, especially in tech world where speed is differential. So you want to stay competitive. So the speed of your development, new features. So it's something that it can create a difference between you and your competitors. So people, of course, are looking the most visual cases and the shiny dashboards and visualization. That is normal. Yeah. But don't forget that we are in an industry, we are companies. And now I think especially if you are a small provider, you can compete with the biggest one because with the help of this technology, so you can get better marketing, better sales, better customer experience. So it's
almost leveling the playing field a little bit.
Yes. For me, is the point. So Sam Altman says that now big companies can create it by one or two or a small group of people, because with artificial intelligence you can automate a lot. And as you say, so the difference in the future in terms of, for instance, marketing, you can create fantastic videos, slogans with specific tools, and it looks promising.
Yeah, no, it's very good points. Let's flip the coin and go from positives to negatives, or not positives, negatives, opportunities, threats, maybe a better way of presenting it. I've got a couple of areas I want to get your insights into, but more broadly, just asking you in the same way I did on opportunities, to look at the threats. What do you think are some of the threats that AI agents and agentic AI could pose to hotel tech vendors specifically?
So it's a very good question, because people are very positive. We are speaking about opportunities, but it's also very challenging. So it's a new, I say a new technology, and the challenges are new, and it's pretty different from the previous. So I think that with great power comes great responsibility. AI is very, very powerful, but also has big risks, so we should pay attention to this. So for me, one of the most important is the expectation. So at this point, everyone is speaking about artificial intelligence. The hype is huge, but to be honest, at this point, products are at the beginning of the revolution, but at initial stage. So the answers are not perfect. We are working hard at that. But so this is not magic. So and this is going to be a process. So first of all, we have to manage this expectation, especially with people that they are not tech people, because so now ChatGPT looks pretty straightforward, but the reality is a bit different. Another point that I want to mention is that now artificial intelligence or AI agents are the new toy in the room. Everyone wants to apply the artificial intelligence new technology to every single case in an hotel. And of course, they have many applications, but it's not going to solve all the problems in the industry. For instance, we are working hard on forecasting, optimization, and it's true that for the mathematical problems, the traditional AI, traditional machine learning is performing better. Yep. So I think that one problem is that we are focused on LLMs, and we are going to apply the same architecture to offer our problems. So I think that it can be a risk, and we should focus on value. So, but there are more risks. For instance, the high dependency on external partners. So now the core of your product, the LLM, the artificial intelligence algorithms, is developed by another partner. Anthropic, OpenAI. Of course, this is very good because you can focus on the rest of the product, but still it's the core of your product and it's like a black box. So if the provider increase the price or if the performance is not good, you could have problems. So I think that for the future it's going to be a commodity and maybe you can change very fast between the providers. But so it's something that it can be risky. And we have more problems, integration. So we are in the hotel industry. We know that it's very difficult to connect different platforms. And also, so the typical artificial intelligence problem, not only for the hotel industry, for instance, ethical part, data security, data governance, and it's something that is very, very important. Regulation, for instance, we live in Europe, and you know that we are very, very good in terms of regulation, and a small changing in law can have a huge impact in your product. So it's something that you should analyze very good, and you should learn for every small update in this part. So I think that we have a lot of risk. It's a big opportunity, but also challenging times are coming.
I think you make some very good points. And what's interesting is you kind of got two angles to that. The data element, which is obviously critical to any of this, because that's what AI agents and eventually agentic AI operates off of data. So the security of the data, the compliance of the data is key, but so is the integrating of solutions and having a central data source, but also a clean data source. Otherwise, if it's not clean, then the data that's being utilized could create hallucinations. So then you have a trust issue. I thought what was also interesting is the point that you made around this almost overpromise, but then it underdelivers. If there is all this hype about the product and our expectations are raised higher than it can deliver at the moment, do we then become underwhelmed? Do we then it then is no longer the new shiny thing? It's a bit tainted, and do we switch off from it a little bit? And again, that comes back to maybe that trust element. Is it, can we trust all the hype that goes around it? So yeah, there's some there's some very interesting points in there. One of the things you mentioned also, you were looking at how, linked to your earlier response about the opportunities and about how hotel will innovate, but how there could be new players coming into the market as well, and that obviously poses a threat. One of the questions I wanted to ask you and get your view is, will the major brands and very large management companies become a potential threat to the existing hotel technology provider landscape? And what I mean by that is, at some point in time, and we're already seeing a lot of investment seems to be going into recruiting into their data team, their AI teams in these major groups. If they lean into developing a clean, consolidated data platform, and they get to grips with managing their data effectively, well, then it doesn't seem a massive leap for them to also start building their AI agents to interrogate that data. And in which case, if it starts to perform some of the functions that currently they outsource to a third party, that would seem to provide a credible threat.
Totally agree. So this risk is very real. I think that as vendor, you have to make sure that your product is very good and you can provide more value than simple products, because as you say, big groups see artificial intelligence like a strategical advantage. They are going to try to create big groups, maybe collaborate with consulting firms to design own agents. And for me, it makes sense because artificial intelligence is different from the previous technology. I think that is going to be your image, your representation for the clients. And of course, if you can, so they are going to try to control it. So I think that already big groups, international groups, they are starting to develop business cases, not only for internal use, also for the customer. But to be honest, the reality is difficult. So I read that Gartner says that the tech company says that 40% of the agentic AI projects will be cancelled by the end of 2027 because
Really?
because now it looks easy because you use ChatGPT and it's like magical. You say, oh, it's only to put an API and it's going to work very well. But developing a product in real time with infrastructure, with connectivity, is a very, very big challenge. So we don't know, of course, because we are starting with artificial intelligence. But my point, and so I have to work a lot with AI, is that it is different to have a small case, an internal use that, of course, you can improve your productivity and you can design your own AI or you can collaborate with another company. But if you want to develop a product with all the feature, so this is changing very fast, and I don't know if it's going to work for all the big groups, especially if you are not a tech company, because it's not as in the past. It's like more a project, but now it's products that they change a lot, and maybe you work very hard in a feature, and after that, OpenAI comes and do in a better way at a lower cost. So it's going to be hard, I think.
Yeah. Maybe they'll maybe one angle they'll take is rather than developing it in house, maybe they will start investing in some companies or even acquiring possible companies and having a separate identity, but that is providing them. Who knows? Many different angles this could possibly take.
Yes, I think that maybe they can acquire small startups, they can collaborate with other companies, but I think that the point is that this culture should be different from the previous projects because it should be really dynamic. So I think that for medium and small groups or routers, the situation is different because they know that they have to look for the best partners in terms of AI and tools. But from my point of view, so the difference is not going to be high because with AI, the customization and personalization is going to be improved a lot. So now maybe you don't have to design your own system for having a 100% customized tool. So even they want the control, and because they can do that, for me, it's vendors can develop very good products for mid and small, and let's see how is the situation.
So we may, I mean, nobody knows. This is why these conversations are great, because you could be right and so could somebody else, and who knows, we'll have to revisit. But possibly there could be a bit of a divide between the major brands that are starting to maybe look to try and reduce third-party solutions and bring more in-house, much as the way that they did a number of years ago when they were developing their own solutions way back when. And then the medium, smaller groups and independent properties would obviously, because of cost and efficiency, they would lean into the tech providers because they can then have those partnerships, and that technology can evolve and develop much more to their specific needs and in a much more agile way.
Yes, totally agree. But so I think that they have a lot of benefits if they can do internally. But of course, I think that one of the first agents, maybe not yet AI agent, but it's a AI agent, is the RMS, the revenue management system. And to be honest, the complexity of this, so big groups try to look for the best partner in the industry, because it's not only about technology. Artificial intelligence is about mathematical problems, about statistics, And yes, I think that in the future, of course, big groups are going to try to develop, and maybe some of them, so they are success with the problems. But I think that the challenge is big, and they have to invest a lot of money to develop. So it's not going to be an easy project. So depending on your expertise, depending on your team, depending on your priorities, you can have a good product, but the secret is you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So I think that you have to find the harmony between personalization and try to use the existing software to not starting from scratch.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And that leads on to kind of the second part of the puzzle, i.e., if not the hotel companies, if they may or may not take some of this on, then I guess the next part of the equation is the actual hotel tech providers themselves and the landscape as it stands. Listening to your answers to that first question, I was wondering whether or not we will continue to see more consolidation within the hotel tech vendors, and we may see some be acquired or become obsolete. But I wonder if you take a slightly different view on that, based on what you've just said. There may be some consolidation around some of these larger platforms, but I tend to get the sense from you that you still feel there is a lot of opportunity out there, a lot of scope where we will continue to see the marketplace probably expand from where it is rather than contract and consolidate. Have I interpreted that right or wrong?
Well, it's a very, very interesting question, because the big trend in the hotel technology is to try to consolidate with big companies are acquiring smaller companies. But the trend of a startup world and artificial intelligence is that small companies are creating a lot of value. So who is going to win in the hotel industry? Let's see, because I think that one of the main pain in the industry, as I said before, is the integration, is the interconnectivity part between agents. And so if you want to develop a useful agent, so you should operate different platforms, PMS, RMS, channel manager, booking engine. So I think that it's going to be like a leaderboard. Because so a small startups and small scalers are going to join the game, and they are going to create cool products with an AI culture, and they are going to create a lot of value. But so the big players, they are going to try to acquire them. They are going to create new products with AI, and they are going to maybe buy these small companies. So it's really difficult now, because there are two different trends in the hotel industry and in the technology world. Yeah. I think that our vision at BEONx is that the connectivity is the key of this. If we develop, and we are trying to develop a connectivity platform to connect all the ecosystem, because it can help to small groups or small companies to compete in a bigger world. So I think that this is a important pain, and I think that this is going to determine if it's going to be only 2-3 big players, or it's going to be a bigger ecosystem with small players adding value to the hotels.
Yeah, interesting thoughts. Yeah, it would be interesting to see how it develops. With regards to the threats, the three angles that I was thinking of was, one, obviously the major hotel groups, two, them being consolidation. The third potential threat, and I'd like to get your thoughts on, are players not currently in the hotel industry, but who are fairly successful or have started up in other markets with a very heavy AI agent focus, and are going into other corporate entities and, looking at ways that their operations could be run more efficiently. And I wonder what your thought was about non-hotel specific solutions looking at the hotel industry and thinking about potentially, retweaking, developing products, and bringing new threats into the hotel market. What do you think on that side of things?
So I think everyone is speaking about that, because now companies like, I don't know, 11 Labs, OpenAI are attacking different industries. But I think that in the short term, hospitality industry is not going to be a target, because I think that other industries like programming, like more tech industry, so you have less barriers in terms of integration, in terms of connectivity. I think that we are a traditional industry, and this is very bad, because sometimes we don't have the most innovative tools. But in terms of protection, so I think that we are in a good point, because of course you can have the best technology, the more visual tool, but if you don't have the integration, if you don't have the distribution in terms of hotels, if you don't have the knowledge, because I think that the complexity of the hotel data is not straightforward, so you cannot create value. So I don't know in the long term, because with this technology, you never know. It is changing very fast. But for me, in the short term, so I think that maybe they can make a partnership with a specific company, but I don't know if maybe for one or two big cases like customer experience, call centers, but for something specific for this industry, I don't see that they are going to join this competition, because in my opinion, there are more profitable in other industries, in other use cases, that they are more technology, and you can join and you can win fastly. So I think that is very specific.
And as you said, I mean, the one of the benefits as a hotel tech vendor is also a negative in the way that the hotel industry isn't the most innovative and can sometimes take some time, which makes it harder for you guys when you're in there, but it makes it double as hard for anyone trying to get into the industry. And also, we know the battle that there is every year around budgets and getting budget to invest in technology. So, outside players may look at other industries as potentially being more forward thinking, and also have potentially more revenue that they would put into this area. So the thing that often gets moaned about by the hotel tech vendors might be one of the areas that is actually a positive for them against external competitors. Yeah, that makes sense.
Totally agree.
One of the things you did touch on when you were talking earlier about the threats is around data, and I just want to get your perspective, because we also know that if I put myself in a hotelier seat for the moment, I've got multiple challenges. I've got a changing guest behavior and expectations. I've got changing traveler behavior that I've got to start interpreting. And on top of that, I've now got owners, investors emailing me to tell me, what are we doing about AI agents? So, that you feel there's maybe a pressure to start to look at that. But data is absolutely critical to the success of the implementation of AI agents, which will eventually lead, if they're saying, to agentic AI, where it will actually then action things for you. That's always been a challenge, hasn't it, within the hotel industry? Just that consolidation, the fragmentation of data is massive, isn't it?
Yes, I think that this is the most important point. So the good point is that we are working on a revenue management system that is the first agent in the industry, or one of the first agents. And it's important to mention that data quality, data governance, data privacy is something that is very extremely important. So it's something that we should change our mindset. And data is not only about information, it's about power. And if you want to develop forecasting, if you want to develop agents, it's only with data. And data is not only about only have a big data set or Excel. It's about connectivity. It's about data governance, data control. And so sometimes when we have to develop a forecast, so an hotel, they don't have historical data. So they say, oh, but you maybe learn from another sources. And we design all types of algorithms to solve this problem. But the basic things, the historical data information, at least 2 or 3 years, is not only about having last year. It's about for developing personalization. So you want to send emails to your clients, you can have the best tool for personalization in terms of emails. But if you don't have the contacts, if you don't have the history of this person, if you don't have, so you are not going to add value. So for me, artificial intelligence is very impactful, but it's only the top of the iceberg. So if you want to make a real impact, you need technology, infrastructure, data, and the cultural point that sometimes I think that is very important, and that we should mention, or we should invest in training, because our mindset should be a little more analytical.
It was interesting that you spoke about compliance there, and obviously UK, Europe, we have GDPR. So, I mean, that is something you do not mess around with. And if you're suddenly thinking as a hotelier, oh, okay, we'll get into more personalization, we'll start using our information and emailing. Well, if you haven't got an auditable trail that show that you have the authorization to do that, you could end up in some difficult situations.
Yes, it's going to be a key part, ethical part, compliance. So I think that now it's going to change a lot, but not only for the hotel industry. I think that European Union, the countries are looking for the best way to regularize this technology. So at this point, we have some data requirements, and of course, they are very important. But with the artificial intelligence, we are going to have more problems in terms of even copyright, data for training, model. So, and today there is no perfect solution. So I think that in the future, maybe in the short term, they are going to appear, they are going to launch new law changes to try to improve this. It's very difficult, because if you are very strict with these rules, maybe competitiveness in Europe in terms of artificial intelligence. So you have to compete with USA players. It's going to be very hard. So something extremely important. But to be honest, now the only thing that you can do is pay attention to the regulation, try to have different scenarios, try to partner or look for partners who know more about these things, because artificial intelligence is going to bring a lot of challenges in terms of compliance.
Yeah, that makes sense. And on that, just talking about partners and working with appropriate partners, I mean, one of the challenges I could see for hoteliers is undoubtedly, you can, I mean, we get offered data lists all the time, lists of GMs or whatever it may be in hotels. And, we don't buy this stuff because we don't know if someone's agreed to be on that list, but other people will. And so we know that hoteliers are likely to be being approached by people that see this as an opportunity to say, oh, we'll build agents for you, or however they're going to phrase it. Well, there's a massive data security issue going on at the moment. We are seeing more and more companies being hacked. And if you're not sure of the provider and partner that you're working with to build a piece of technology that is going to then be integrated into your company and accessing your data, I would think data security would be a big flag I'd be wanting to keep in mind.
Yes, of course. So I think that is a very important topic, because we know, we read in the news that hacking, security issues. So I think that's now when you look for a partner, it's not only about your product or your product of today. So I think that you should share some worries about data security, the roadmap. You should check the vision of AI, and because now if you share your data, it's something that is extremely important. So it's not in the past, maybe a few customers, but now the data is the core of your product. And if you are an hotel and you have this kind of problems, they can affect a lot of customer. And maybe it's not so you are not guilty because it's the partner. But now this trust is essential. So I think that if you are working with data, especially with data related to customer, of course, you should look the demo and the feature and the capabilities, but you should ask about what is the data privacy, the data governance, because this can be an important issue in the future.
Yeah, no, that's very good points. Final question. I am conscious of your time, and thank you again for being part of this. The media, event organizers, they need a new shiny object to focus on, so that they can generate content that people will click on, or events that people will attend to hear from speakers. So it is natural that they will focus on the newest shiny tech. And back to your point about over-promising, under-delivering, that seems to promise the world. But sometimes I wonder if for hoteliers, with everything else that is going on, this can possibly cause confusion. It could be an unwanted distraction. And more importantly, as we're entering the phase of the year when they start to think about 2026 budgets, it could also bring about a degree of hesitation in evaluating what they should be doing with their technology investment going forward. So with that context in mind, i.e., early thoughts about how I should be thinking about budgeting for tech investment in 2026 and beyond. If I put you in a room with a group of hoteliers that would be asking you that question without a direct overt sales for the BEONx product, obviously, how would you be guiding or advising them? What advice would you be giving them about some things that they should be considering? What areas they should maybe be focusing their efforts in going forward in the future?
So yes, that's very, very, very interesting question. So I think that now it's time to invest in technology and artificial intelligence. Everyone knows that, but I think that you should do that in a smart way. Now you heard media, you heard LinkedIn, and it looks that everyone is creating a lot of money and generating a lot of money with artificial intelligence. And as you say, so we are starting, but there are a lot of success in terms of agents, especially. So for me, my first advice is don't feel stressed if you are not into production. So now it's time to start to think, start to look for good partners, create your AI strategy. That is very important because now the tools are going to change, capability and features is going to improve. But first of all, you have to think about your strategy. So what problems, what value, what is going to be my investment before the tools that you can follow when you have more time. So another thing that for me it's important is focus on real value. I think that in not chasing hype, for me, one of the key factors to see what is the speed of adoption is the profitability. So if you prove actual value, if you can prove that you are going to improve your revenue, increase your revenue, reduce the cost, improve the customer satisfaction in an effective way, so it's going to be very fast. So when you see a proof of concept shiny with wow effect, it's very easy to try that. But don't forget that you have to solve your actual questions, and you don't have to create new problems.
Yeah.
As we mentioned, it's very important the infrastructure, the technology, so all the data that we have behind the scenes, because if you want to develop successful AI, it's based on math and information, and you need that. Maybe in the past, you did not pay attention on that, but if you want to extract the value from AI, is necessary to do this. And as you said before, when you look for a partner, it's not about the product that is now in this moment. It's about the vision. It's about look for a partner, because now we don't know how things are going to change, but we know that things will change. So if you check the roadmap of your partner and you see that in the last 2 years, they develop a lot of features, a lot of new things related with AI, they are investing a lot of money in R&D, maybe this is your partner. And
that's a very good point. Yeah. Because you're seeing that they're innovative and they can do that innovation for you.
Yes, it's something that is very important. And now the ranking of the top providers is going to change, because now all the industry is going to be transformed. And another thing that for me is very important is plan for the internal adoption. So artificial intelligence is not only about tech, it's not only about tools, it's for people. And if people see technology like an enemy, it's going, so you can have good tool with a lot of features, but if they don't use this software, it's not going to create an impact. So you have to invest in training, in culture, in management, in onboarding, because I think that the secret is the interaction between artificial intelligence and humans. So you cannot forget that. And it's something that people, when they speak about artificial intelligence, it's only about technology, coding, but this point for me, and we see this at BEONx, that is extremely important. So in summary, from my point of view, there is no a big secret in terms of investment. So it's like have a clear vision in terms of AI, invest smart, focus on real problems, build the foundations, and learn very quickly, because this revolution is going very, very, very fast.
I think that's a brilliant summary. I think on that note, I can't really add more to it. So we will end that. We will end our conversation there. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you join us today. Thank you.